Hey there, Leonin and Loxodons.
In this week's Flashlight, we're still at the Howloween Furry Convention in Vancouver to hear about the attendees' TTRPG characters for a third and final time.
Let's roll initiative.
So tell me about your character.
Okay, my character was in a White Wolf vampire game, the one I played most recently. I played Gangrel, only because they got rid of Malkavians with the most recent edition.
Can you tell the audience what gangrels and Malkavians are?
Malkavians are a vampire class that they got rid of because too many loonies were playing them. They are the ones who are powered by insanity. And the role-playing community, especially the vampire role-playing community, which is pretty intense, could not be trusted with them. So they got rid of that in a later edition, and there was a patch. A gangrel is a kind of a Nosferatu type.
Cool.
The ugly vampire. And I based mine, and I am really going to be showing my age because I used to watch Dick at Night as a child. I based mine on Louis De Palma from Taxi.
Absolutely.
Who is Danny DeVito. It's a horrible little man who did horrible little things, and we were climbing Mount Everest.
Wait,
and
what?
We were going to be the first vampires to summit Mount Everest. My spouse was running that, and really enjoyed the horrible things that could happen on Mount Everest, like people coughing up pieces of their lungs. So that would be more fun for vampires because they don't do that, and they can just walk around all over and eat all the rich people who are going up Mount Everest. And I wound up with a Yeti costume, and being a horrible little man, I became at the end of the game, I ended up being the latest Mount Everest cryptid of the area, and I believe I wound up knocking on the door of an NPC and shacking up with her.
So you got a real happy ending. You got to be a cryptid. You got to fall in love.
Yeah. And
you got to climb Mount Everest.
I did not climb Mount Everest. So to the climb Mount Everest, never came back down.
Oh, no.
They just kept climbing into another dimension and vanished. I chose a more mundane ending for my horrible little man. I did not think he was quite the metaphysical type.
You got a happy ending, yeah. So usually when people talk about this kind of game, they talk about it like it's a kind of a grim, realistic, urban, grounded setting. That's not how you played it.
No, I mean, it was realistic in that we actually had maps and topography of Mount Everest. It was really cool. He actually gave us real pictures of the camps and the types of campsite that you could expect as you go up the mountain, and real maps and real supplies and real garbage dumps that exist on Mount Everest. But once you start climbing Mount Everest as a vampire, it gets weird anyway. And we were involved in all this metaphysical stuff that really got its hooks into the other players, and it just rolled off me like Teflon.
This nasty little man was not interested in metaphysics.
He was not. He was interested in running around in a Yeti costume.
And he succeeded.
Yes. He became yet another Yeti.
Thank you so much. This sounds like so much fun.
All right. Yeah, it was nice talking to you.
Likewise. Have a good one.
Okay, you too.
Maybe you have one in mind?
Yeah, so I played a Pathfinder game set in Eberron, which is the D&D kind of steampunk setting. I played a Warforged character named Labor 19, who was supposed to be just a labor robot, but got possessed by an eldritch force from beyond the planes. And what he was an oracle with the curse of tongues. And whenever he got into a stressful situation or wasn't able to control himself, like in combat, Labor 19 would step back and Vosis, the voice of the great work's inevitable culmination, would step in and start making decisions. And spoke only in Infernal.
Mechanically, how did that work? What were you doing?
So the Curse of Tongues in Pathfinder for an Oracle is whenever a stressful situation or combat pops up, you switch to a different language and can't speak any other languages. So what I decided was anytime that happens, the other personality takes over and refuses to listen.
And how did the rest of the party feel about these situations?
The rest of the party started planning around it and started provoking it when they felt it was necessary to stir things up.
Was there a happy ending for this character?
Unfortunately, like many D&D games, it kind of petered out after a little bit. His eventual goal was to sever the entire world from causality and allow free will to reign unchecked, but he would settle for the overthrow of some minor governments.
And while the campaign was running, did he manage to overthrow any?
No, we mostly managed to not get arrested, which was honestly more than we should have expected, given what we got up to.
What were you getting up to?
Well, the revolution, among other things.
Oh, yes.
Up to and including banishing certain major political figures from the timeline.
If only we could do that in real life, eh?
No comment.
Thank you so much. This has been incredibly
You're
cool to hear
welcome.
about.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So tell me about your character.
So my character is called Uhok Soulhand.
Okay.
He's a cleric, and he is an 11-year-old turtle boy that's looking for his lost mothers in the Feywild, and he just stumbled with the party, and now they're all trying to take care of him. But it's really hard to take care of a child in the Feywild. So,
I can imagine.
Yes.
What motivated you to play a character that everyone has to take care of?
It was like this new campaign that we were gonna do,
Yeah.
and I honestly I kind of want to do a character that I won't feel forced to take notes, and I was like, what's the easiest character that I'm like, I don't need to, and no one will ever come to me for notes, right? So I was like, a child.
And he's been in dangerous situations so far.
He has gone through a lot of trauma. Our whole party is always like, oh man, this child, everyone is like, we all need to like pitch in for this child's like therapy once like he starts growing up. That sucks. This is like hearing, but he's fine. He's such a like positive little like kid, and he's learning so much like of adventuring.
What do you see his arc being like by the end of the campaign?
His arc. Oh my gosh. Well, the ultimate goal is hopefully he'll find like his lost mother.
Yeah.
And I really hope that he kind of like realizes the because he's supposed to be like a very like sheltered, like very go lucky like kid.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that like by the end of it he's more like grounded. He had to like it's his express like puberty that he's going through. So yeah, I think his arc is just like also he has this really big like he puts his mom on a pedestal. So I'm really hoping that he's just like being able to learn more about the world and kind of like be more open about everything around him, and not idolizing like his mom as much, but at the same time like realizing like, oh, like it's kind of like when you grow up and you're like, oh my gosh, my parents are human, and you're like, oh yeah.
That sounds like a beautiful arc, honestly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much for having me. By one of his mothers. So.
Oh, actually. Thank you. You ready to go?
Yeah?
So tell us about your character.
Okay, so I will start with the context of kind of what the campaign is about, because that makes my choice of character make a little more sense. So this is a campaign run by a really good friend of mine, online friend of mine, who invited us to it, and they'd run it once or twice before, but not gotten super far with it. But basically, it's this world that's kind of divided by monsters and humanoids. There was a war about like a few thousand years ago, and monsters disappeared for a while. And they've only recently kind of come back, and so tensions are like really starting to climb again. So for my character, I made a draconic sorcerer Asmar, and I put her in essentially a cult that was a monster hunting group, because I thought it would be really fun to have some party drama, especially kind of splitting it. But when I made her, I honestly wasn't expecting to go far. I was thinking I was going to have like, oh, okay, here's a character that I think I'll replace. I'm going to have her betray the party and then I'll replace her. But at the time, I was using D&D Beyond, so I was stuck with the free options, which is how I ended up with Draconic Sorcerer. So her entire character shifted the second I found out about how draconic sorcerers grow scales, meaning she had a visually monsterish trait in a cult that was explicitly against monsters.
Wow, yeah.
So her entire character sort of shifted from there. It snowballed solely because of I had to pay for the other options, and I didn't feel like it, and I didn't know sheets enough to do something else. So
Did you ever get the party drama you expected?
I got a little bit of it, but the way that I played her changed a lot in that first session once I kind of discovered, like, okay, she is someone who is more uncomfortable with herself than I previously first thought. And so this is kind of she didn't go after the party much because she had this fear response of, if I'm outnumbered, I'm gonna die if I do anything here. And then as it went on, of her just like, okay, I just gotta stick it out until I can get out. I just gotta stick it out. She kind of shifted and became a little more comfortable with, like, especially because there's honestly 2 cultists in this party. But the other one is a gnoll who's been raised similarly to hate monsters.
Are they rival cults or the same cult?
No, they're different, but I think they may have some ties. And I don't know yet. I'm only playing her. But basically, they became really close, and so that also helped to start kind of shifting her perspective on it. And so I got this really nice dynamic that I really, really want to explore more of the way she's uncomfortable with certain members of the party, the different ways. So from the beginning, I had decided that she would have some conflict with one of the other members of the party that was played by my partner. Basically, my partner played a monster character, and he had run this underground area to get monsters out of this kingdom that is explicitly against monsters. My character had been sent by her group to go rip apart the underground and basically, in a sense, blow it all up.
Oh, wow.
So I knew she had that. I knew she had that conflict. And so there was like a time in one of our sessions where after a nightmare, my partner's character came in and like full on came in to attack her. So we got that fight. But I've gotten to explore because, and here's the thing about why she hasn't like truly gone against the party. She has had a lot of her memories taken away from her. And so she was like lied to, like, okay, you know, you're from this horrible place, like we saved you from this place.
Got it.
She was actually just taken, and so she didn't have that memory for the longest time, as well as the spell modify memory was used a lot on her within the cult. So it's basically once she got this greater restoration, I suppose, spell cast on her, it was that biggest flipped switch of, they're lying to me. Like, everything that I know has come crumbling down because it's this sudden flood of the actual memories on top of the altered ones. And so she's become a very, very unstable character that has been fun to play because I've kind of had these moments of, okay, she doesn't trust our party dad, essentially, because she sees this father figure role as putting himself above her, and she doesn't trust that because of her leader. Like, she's like, okay, this is an authority figure. You are putting yourself in the role of an authority figure. I don't like this. I don't trust that.
And this is a very different character than what you set out to play initially.
Exactly. And I think that's like my favorite part about playing D&D is going in with like an idea of, yes, I'm going to play this character, and then just kind of playing it, and then after the session going like, you know, I can work with how I acted as her. Like, I can work with this, like, going in and in-depth, like, nailing into, like, okay, this is why she did this. And, it totally makes sense, actually. Like, even though it's nothing like what I first thought would happen.
That is so cool. Thank you so much for sharing this.
Yeah, I got intensely fixated on her to a point of a 22 and 8 minute long playlist, 22 hour, 8 minute long.
Can you send us the playlist and we'll link to it in the show
Absolutely.
notes? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, tell us about your PC.
Okay, so I was playing a PC named Cylixeen in a Cyberpunk Red game, and they essentially died in the first 2 sessions. So how we structured this, how the DM structured this was we each had a solo session and then followed that by a group session, which is the original session 1. So in my solo session, I was tasked by the fixer, essentially the quest giver, to deliver a quote-unquote pizza to a mysterious location, and then I'm supposed to grab a chip and then bring it back to the pizza store. And the mode of transportation they gave me was driving, and the thing is, I had no points in driving. And funnily enough, I also rolled very low on driving, so it was just crashing and swerving on the way there. And I somehow miraculously made it, grabbed the pizza, and I was told there was something sloshing inside. It was like $1 pizza, but that wouldn't be normal to have something sloshing inside a pizza box. But I'm like, that might be like a liquid bomb or something. I'm not gonna touch it. I delivered it to this like dark, unmarked place. There was a mafia boss that come pick me up, and I opened it, and well, it was actually just pizza and a Sprite. So there was nothing crazy about that. And so on my way out is when I had to drive back out, and I rolled low again. So what happened was, I kind of drove off the bridge into the river underneath. I survived somehow, the car didn't. And the fixer called me afterwards about their car, which I did not have anymore. So I was in serious debt, which led into the first session where my character and their roommate Despair, which is like a red demon guy, he kind of took on my debt as well, and we had to go do a job for the fixer to help pay off our debt. And so essentially, I caused the chain of events that led us to have to save the mafia boss that then got kidnapped. We were in a tough place where there were like super soldiers trying to fight us, and as just a last like ditch effort, I threw a grenade at them, hopefully like it killed them to like save a friend. I rolled a 1, and the grenade bounced back at me and killed both me and Despair. So that's how I killed me and another PC in 2 sessions, and the entire thing was my fault.
The Looney Tunes logic of this game, I love it.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Should we do a segment intro?
I'm thinking that it might make more sense to do just an interstitial.
Yeah.
Where we say something like, wow, and I mean this sincerely. Howloween was incredible. The fact that people were just willing to come up to us like that with these detailed, intricate characters and talk with us about them for so long and be like, yes, my character has a playlist and art. And a couple of them done PC intros since then for the season. And like, I don't know, I'm really grateful for that. And I'm looking forward to doing a lot more on-site recording in the future.
I am as well, Jake.
And I think, yeah, for definitely for the rest of this season, we're going to be treating people to more on-site interviews where we just go to cons and we go to venues and we ask people about their games.
It's an oops all on-site flashlight season.
It is. It really, yeah, it actually is. And then I think next season we're going to have at least some on-sites as well. I feel like we get to talk to a much broader group of people and people that we never get to talk to for a sit-down interview about their characters, and that's fun. And also we get to talk to people who aren't GMs, which is cool because GMs have a specific vibe to them, and it's cool. I mean, okay, I as a forever GM, I can say that it's allowed. But it is nice to get to talk to people who have kind of a different mien going.
Yeah. Only PC people definitely approach the game differently.
Oh, absolutely.
As an only PC person myself.
Have you never run a game?
No, I have not. I've thought about running games and then have not done any of the work to make that happen.
If you ever ran a campaign, I would play in it.
Okay.
And then I would interview you about it on the next season of Campaign
God,
Spotlight.
okay, yeah.
No pressure. But yeah, somehow we're already halfway through season 3,
Yes.
which is it happened faster than I thought it was going to, honestly.
Time flies when you are constantly talking to people about their games and going to cons and going to like pubs and game stores now.
Yeah. I mean, we had a ton of fun at Opegard Meadery, and I think we're going to be able to get to a couple of the venues this season and next season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in addition to that, I think the back half of the season we got some great interviews coming.
And mid-season updates. We have a Patreon.
We have a Patreon, patreon.com/campaign spotlight.
I'll add a little coin sound here.
Ooh, that was a great coin sound.
Thank you. We have a phone number. What's our phone number?
Our
Jake?
phone number is 724-320-2020. Please use it because it's a Google Voice number and we need incoming calls to keep it. So once again, that's 724-320-2020. If you have a cool character that you think would be fun to introduce an episode in character as, just call in and read out the intro. Ideally, you'd then let us know who you are so we can get in touch with you and thank you. But if you just want to do it as a mystery, honestly, that's fine too.
I mean, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do have a cool campaign that you'd like to share, and if you'd like to come on the podcast for an interview, probably don't use that phone line to get in touch with us. Email us at campaign.spotlight@gmail.com or DM us on Blue Sky or on Tumblr. Shout out to Tumblr, the one social media platform that I've somehow consistently been using for over 15 years now.
I mean, it's really good.
Yeah, Tumblr has a lot of features. It's it's a shame it didn't take off, right? And it's also less algorithmically mediated, which feels really nice. Anyway, if you have a cool campaign, definitely get in touch with us about it. Do we have anything else to discuss?
No. It was...
One thing I want to ask you about, do we want to start letting people know when we'll be at bars and festivals and stuff?
I think it'd be great to say that on, I don't know about on air as timing wise, but just say it through the medias, right?
We're still on air. Given that this episode is one where we explicitly talk about the on-site recording, I think it might be cool to be like, we're going to start letting you know on social media when we're going to be at cons.
At different cons or
Venues,
when we are going to phase into
material reality.
Material reality, yeah. Jake, when are we phasing into material reality?
That is a great question, Reilly. We are definitely, at some point in the future, going to instantiate ourselves into physical flesh bodies and walk around with a microphone at some upcoming cons and maybe also some venues. And we'll post about that on social media. I think we've had so much fun going to Opegard Meadery, going to Howloween. We've been to a couple more events like that since. OrcaCon. Oh, that episode's coming out soon. I'm very excited about it.
Me too.
Shout out to OrcaCon. Honestly, that was a great time.
That was a really, really great event. Everybody was so lovely. We saw so many cool games and companies and artists and really excited for that episode.
Saw some incredible wizard hats too.
Yeah, we saw a bunch of wizard hats. You'll get the wizard hat count.
Is that we did actually do a wizard hat count in the episode?
Did, yeah.
Yes. Great. Yeah. No. In the future, we will be posting on social media when we're going to be at, we're going to be at a bar or be at a con or something like that. And if it's near to you and you have a cool character or game to tell us about, stop by, track us down, and come yell into the microphone.
Yeah. That's all for this week.
I'm Dungeon Inspector Jake.
And I'm Production Master Reilly.
If you enjoy the show, consider subscribing and leaving a review, which helps other people find Campaign Spotlight.
If you'd like to support our work, consider going to patreon.com/campaignspotlight and becoming a patron.
And if one of your players has decided that their character is going to be an uncooperative lone wolf, don't be afraid to kill that PC off.
For more on the show, including links to all our social media, visit folderfrequencies.com/campaign spotlight. That's it.
Got it in one.
Got it in one.